everybody. Welcome back to the Franklin Factor podcast. We are so excited that we are starting back our second season, and I have the fabulous Carrie Bond here with me today. We are going to share everything about new construction and how you as an agent can become an expert and how you can show your value and represent builders on new construction, either by repping buyers or repping them on listings. So let's get started. Okay, so some information a little bit about our team. So we've been doing new construction probably since essentially we first started back like 40 years. So we are in Houston, and Houston leads the nation in the top new construction starts.
As of this year.
As of this year, earlier this year. And what that has to do primarily with, if you don't know Houston very well, is the zoning. So we don't really have any zoning. This stat comes from all about how many new start permits there were with the city. So
and when we say Houston, we're talking about Greater Houston, right? So all of the suburbs that are included in that. Our market area is enormous.
It is enormous. And I think that's why we have the biggest new construction, is because it seems like it's ever expanding.
So much opportunity.
Our office is near Katy. There's no real new construction left. Well, there is, but not very much left.
Right.
We're about to be done with opportunities, but it seems like it's going further and further and further out.
Yes.
We are seeing a lot of, and I think that's just, there's been a lot of growth in Houston over the last 40 years. So that's why our team has been such a big proponent of new construction. And I think we have a different insight into that, because we look at it as partnering with the builder. I think that's the biggest point that we'll talk about today. Carrie has a lot of experience, as she used to work with a builder, so we'll talk about that soon too. But we essentially have always looked on as these builder and builder reps as a counterpart of ours, right? So we go in and we want to partner with them, as opposed to looking at it as a or competitiveness or something.
Exactly.
Right?
Or even if you were going to sell a resale property, we're seeing it a little bit different than we would see a seller in a resale property. When you're trying, we're just, like you said, we're trying to partner with them and help them sell more homes. And so I think one of the things that we'll talk about today is just finding your value proposition. And that's something that the Franklin team has done a great job of defining what that is for our builders. And so it's something that, as you want to break into this niche, then you've got to figure out what that is for you. And we can give you a few examples.
Yes, I think so. I think that's great. And I think one of the things that I did want to share some stats from our team is from 2024, we actually represented 246 buyers that we brought to new construction. And then over 992, technically, where we repped the builder as a listing agent.
Yes.
So we can also give you some insight on your value proposition when it comes to that, as far as getting buyers or representing them on the sell side.
Exactly. So when we say we're new construction experts, just last year we sold over 1,000 new construction homes. So we know a thing or two. So we're excited to share all that with you today.
Why is new construction so important to realtors? We are going to give you 5 reasons today. The first one is consistency of inventory. Builders are always building and growing markets. There's a lot of influx of people. Maybe the resale homes, there are just not enough. So a lot of builders are looking for opportunities. Typically, builders always have inventory, right? So they have inventory, they have spec homes, or you get a lot of builders who are building from the ground up. So somebody can come in, pick their lot, pick exactly what they want, as opposed to buying a resale home and having to come in and renovate.
Right.
So
and deal with problems or things that might be behind the walls. You know, you sort of know what you're getting when you're getting new construction.
Exactly. And you get it brand new, right? Brand new home, as opposed to a 50, 60-year home that needs renovation of everything.
Yeah, and we're seeing, in the Houston market, there's some parts of town where homes were built in the 20s or 30s, and maybe bungalows type of homes. And while a lot of those have been renovated and are beautiful, some were not kept up with well. And so builders have come in and taken those down and built new homes there. So, you know, we see everything from that inside the city to, like we talked about, going out outside the outskirts of the Houston area, all around the whole radius, north, south, east, and west. It's just gone, you know, all the way around and has expanded. And so we've seen those big master plan communities too. So it's a mix of both.
Right. The second reason why new construction is so important is look at it as a one relationship. You meet a salesperson, let's say you bring them a buyer, and then you had an excellent transaction, which over the years we've had a ton of those.
Yes.
And that builder finds that they have such great trust in you and wants to refer you more clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, that's multiple transactions just from that one relationship.
Well, and if you think about it too, we've talked about on previous episodes how important it is to cultivate those relationships with your past clients and how to, you know, earn those referrals from them. But this is like a 2-for-1, right? Because you could get referrals from that client that you helped get into that new construction home, but you could also get referrals from the builder salesperson. And so I think that's what's pretty cool. It could be people that might need help selling their home that are coming into the model home and have a home to sell, but it also could be just their personal friends or family, because we've gotten lots of those kinds of referrals too.
I think that's a really good point, because you can look at it as opposed to just looking at the one transaction can lead to those referrals, but then also the builder rep on the other. As long as they have the trust and confidence in you, they can also lead to more referrals.
Exactly.
The third reason would be leverage and scalability. We have seen over the years, especially in the last 10 years, I would say, where we have really poured into our builder new construction division.
Absolutely.
And seen it scale. We are able to use some of our programs that we'll talk about later to really leverage and scale that division.
Yes.
But I'm thinking for our listeners who maybe aren't at the same place we are, how they can do that. And again, you bring them a buyer. How can you help them, or how can you, hey, I brought you a buyer. How can you help me in return?
Yeah.
Or how can I provide a service or value to you in return?
Absolutely.
As opposed to just being done then, right?
Right.
So I think, again, this is it all comes back to this is a relationship, which is what we do as realtors.
Exactly.
We are we're an advisor that is building relationships, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. And so as you build those relationships, let's say a builder gives you that trust where they want you to take over some of their listings, where you can then, you know, promote those listings out on the MLS. It helps with your name or your team's name and exposure on more listings that are out there. And so, like Sarah said, we'll talk about that later, but I think that's a huge opportunity for agents.
Market differentiation is the fourth reason why new construction is so important. And I think our team is known as this for being a new construction expert. And it's where we've become essentially, when people think new construction, they think of us.
Right.
A lot of times, because we don't just focus on one niche as opposed to resell or renovated homes in a certain area. We tend to be more broad, push new construction because we believe in newer construction and the efficiency and the not having as many issues.
There's a lot to learn. I mean, there's a lot to learn as far as the construction goes and the way the build process is too. So I think that's one thing that can set you apart. So if you can take the time to learn those things, which builders offer lots of classes, at least in our market, on how to sell new construction or the new construction process or how we build homes, I think it's important to take that time to learn it, because then you become the expert. And you can share all of that information with your buyers. So not only does it build trust with the builder, like, oh, they know what they're talking about, but also when you're representing buyers and you can explain, oh, this is, the pest control treatment that they spray on the frame before they insulate, or this is the type of insulation they use, or this is normal, this is part of the process, then it also has that trust factor with your clients too.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of it, right? Like, it's setting you aside by becoming the expert. You're setting yourself aside by being that expert, not just in that one, but in all kinds of niches like that, like different niches.
There for sure. There's how many
niches.
agents? Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
There's how many agents in Houston? Like 40,000?
40,000.
Set ourselves apart
Set
somehow.
ourselves apart, exactly. The last thing that we strongly believe new construction is important is because of the long-term value.
For sure.
So when markets tend to be ups and downs and ebbs and flows, we have a consistent backlog, if you will, not just of transactions, because there's so many different processes where a buyer comes into play when they go under contract and are either buying an inventory home or a new construction home. But it also is, again, about building relationships. We've got these relationships that over the years you are still working on. You're still seeing how you can provide value in different ways, because
Absolutely.
let's be real, markets change, and that changes how we market to our clients. We essentially at the Franklin team look at our clients as our builders, as our clients. And so even though they may not be personally buying or selling homes, they are a huge referral source of ours.
Absolutely.
And so we've been we're going on 4 decades of having builders as our really big focus of ours, and big clients almost, as long as the company's been around.
For sure. And I think, like you said, markets change. And so even in the last year, since it's been about a year since the whole NAR settlement change and all of that, but over the last 12 months, we've had multiple conversations with our builder partners, just strategically thinking about how can they make sure that they're staying in front of agents and agents are bringing them buyers, or, hey, the market shifting, days on market are getting longer. What can we do? How can we get more creative? And so it's been pretty cool for us to have a lot of those conversations. And I think that's why we see them as our clients. It's like our thought partners. We're thinking together on how we can together sell more homes, which is pretty cool.
Yes. And isn't that interesting how a year ago we were so concerned about commission compression?
Yes.
And I think we'll talk about that later too. But builders are the one consistent where they're paying 3%, if not more.
If not more.
Would have never thought about that a year ago.
Really? A year ago, they were talking about should they not offer anything, or should they let agents come to them with what they want? So it has been really interesting to see. But a great thing for us and our business is that, to your point about long-term value or consistency, having that from builders is fantastic.
It's huge.
Okay, so Sarah, one of the big questions from a lot of agents is, how do I break into new construction? How do I get into this, market and become an expert? And you mentioned the Franklin team are the new construction experts in Houston. So was there a certain breakthrough or turning point that either since you've been on the team, or even when it was just Jimmy, that you think helped set us apart or got us, got our foot in the door into new construction?
So I can answer this in multiple ways. I think there are multiple facets to that question, or to that answer per se. Is the Franklin team, or Jimmy at the time, years and years ago, probably 25 years ago, it wasn't since inception, but as Katy, which he was primarily a West Houston area, and Katy was growing so much, he essentially just became a new construction, primarily in Cinco Ranch, with salespeople. He would partner with them, realize that he could do a discounted commission structure, but became friends with them, became the go-to source for them and their trusted source. And I think that that's essentially where where he saw he could align with builders, as opposed to that old way of thinking it's not an old way of thinking, unfortunately. We still see it today, where it's the realtor against the salesperson, because they think that they need to provide their worth. And that's just not how we've ever looked at it. I think that's a mindset thing. We can talk about that later. But I think that's where he went. He became friends. He looked at them as a source.
And he was going
early
out there.
on. He was going out
there, putting himself out there, meeting
taking them to golf. I mean, essentially, just how you use a typical lead source. Let's say you get a referral source of yours is a lender, and what do you do to nurture that relationship? You're
Yeah.
taking them out.
You're going to lunch. Sure.
Taking them to coffee. You remember their kids' birthdays.
Sure.
You're golfing with them or traveling with them. I mean, you do become what you would say is a friend,
Yeah.
right? But he took it further as a trusted resource as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he was giving guidance when it wasn't necessarily where he was getting paid. So, running comps and then it naturally ended up turning into getting more listings. When I was younger, I remember living at home and doing some of the MLS listings, right?
That's awesome.
And those were, a nominal fee at the time, and it was this outdated system. But now I'm just rambling, so I'll get back to that. But one of the things that did set us apart, I believe, in later years was developed from a relationship he had with a sales manager for Pulte Homes who had heard about a program that they wanted to bring from Dallas to Houston. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar to our program now, or a lot of it is where we came up with it. And we've kind of made changes over the years that we'll talk about in one of our later episodes. But that's where he found his essentially unique ability is to provide this buyout program, a guaranteed buyout program that turned into this builder division of selling 1,000 homes a year, new construction. So to answer your question, and something that I think we'll also talk about later is finding your unique ability or your value that you can provide to builders to partner with them.
Yeah, everyone's is going to look different or could look different. You don't have to do exactly what we're doing because there's a lot of different ways that you can provide a value to a builder, but figuring out what that is and then sticking with it, which is what we've done.
Yes.
There might have been little minor changes to the program over the years, but really our guaranteed home buyout program has been that for 25 years, right?
And I think it's kind of like, if you think about it, if you're a store or you're a brand of something and you're selling something, what is your value proposition? Let's say, like, I bought this hair thing for my daughter for her birthday. It's called Sleepy Tie.
Okay.
And it's a scrunchie you put your hair in. The company is called Sleepy Tie, but they have all different types of things. And that's their one thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the Franklin team, we have perfected the guaranteed buyout program over the years, and we do all kinds of things, but this is one part of it that's a huge success, and that's a huge driver to our team. But there's other things, right?
Sure.
So I think it's about perfecting that value once you have it, which we are constantly always trying to make it better. So Carrie, I think some of our listeners would love to know, like, what are builders looking for in an agent? Maybe that would help them figure out their, value proposition. What do you think they want?
Well, I used to work for a builder back in the day. And so I do have that perspective as well. And I think it's just so important to find someone, if I'm a builder, to find agents that can truly help me sell more homes. Now that could look different, right? So like we've talked about, we have this unique program that removes contingencies. And so when I was a builder salesperson, that was huge for me because I was only allowed, I think, 1 or 2 contingencies for my neighborhood. And that was stressful because I had people come in that had homes to sell. And so that's something that helped me sell incremental homes that maybe I wouldn't have before. But it could also look different. Some builders don't have a lot of marketing dollars. Maybe they're smaller. Maybe they're not a big national builder. And so, we also do marketing videos, beautiful videos that are done for our builders, which we a lot of times give them the link to download. They promote it themselves. I've seen some of our videos our builder partners have used on their own, like Facebook ads, which I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that you could do. Anything, like I said, to help you sell more homes. One thing we haven't even talked about is just the open house concept. And doing open houses for new construction. It's very different than doing one for a resale property, but I think there's so much opportunity there. I think, when you are in a community, let's just say you're in a community with several different builders and you're going to help one builder with open houses for that weekend, and they have several homes on the ground that are done, that are ready, that they need to get moved. and they only have one builder salesperson. And a lot of times in these communities, you have a lot of traffic coming in and out on a Saturday or a Sunday through the model home park. And if you're only one person, it can be hard to capture all those people. And so if you do have an agent who can be a partner of yours in those open houses and almost serve as another builder salesperson, where that agent knows the inventory, they know the amenities, they can speak to how great the neighborhood is. That's the type of partner I think a builder would want to be with them, to partner with them, to help them sell more homes. So I think those are the things that a builder would be looking for in an agent, and someone that can learn. If they don't know the process, the new construction process, will learn it. Just because, like I said, it is different. And a lot of times I think where sometimes a builder and an agent may get into, I don't want to say like an argument, but there may be things that come up, is because sometimes the agent doesn't understand the process. And a client gets freaked out because they see a broken window in their home that's under construction and it's been broken for 2 weeks. And the agent is like, I told you guys that this window was broken when we went to go see this property. Well, if you don't really know the process, windows have to get ordered. They may wait until that trade is already back in the neighborhood because it's on a schedule. And so if you can understand some of those things and set proper expectations with your clients, then it can just make it a smoother process all the way through.
Yeah.
So,
and I think also, builders really, you can put it simply too, like they want a trusted person that they can count on. If they're going to do the open house, are they going to show up? Are they going to speak correctly and represent the builder correctly?
Right.
Or being a resource to them, whether it be finding out some information on homes that were, or helping market to apartment complexes nearby. I mean, there's all these a million ways that you can help an agent, and I think, or help a builder salesperson as an agent. I think things that an agent could do would be finding if you find a builder salesperson that you connect with, ask them, how can we partner together? How can I really come and provide you some value? And then you think about it and come up with your own value proposition. Maybe it's something that doesn't make sense for you.
Sure.
But maybe it's something easy enough that you just are there one day a week on their day off for a couple hours to answer the phones or answer the doors or whatever. I think there's so many opportunities. You just got to get creative with it.
And a lot of times you have to get out there. And so,
that's important.
Yes. And not just sit behind your computer and try and learn all the things. Yes, you can do that, but really getting out into those communities and learning them and meeting all the different salespeople and figuring out, what sets different builders apart. I think all of those are really important things to learn.
Another thing I was going to ask you about too is, since you have been on the other side, how do you believe in realtors when somebody comes without one as opposed to with one?
Yeah.
What would be like from the builder standpoint?
So if I put my builder hat on and I think about, what it was like when I was sitting in the model home, for me, it was a lot easier when there was an agent involved, when a buyer came in with an agent. And I think it's because, I represented, at least here in Texas, this might be different in other markets. And here in Houston, the builder salesperson is not licensed. My license was inactive when I worked for a builder, and I was representing the builder. And so
Which is the seller.
Yes, which is the seller, right? So, the client, the buyer, knew that I was representing the seller. So sometimes if I said, no, that's not something we can do, no, this is normal, like this is part of the process, I'm the salesperson, right? So there may be a little bit of a lack of trust, although I have to say I feel like I was really great at building trust with buyers. But there is going to be that in the back of their mind, right? That, she works for the builder. Of course she's going to say that. So if you have an agent there that does have experience selling new construction, oh my gosh, it makes it so much easier. They can say, no, you actually can't make those changes to the home after this stage because it's already been permitted, because they've already ordered the countertops. And so it's not Carrie being mean or the builder being rude and saying you can't change these things at this point. It's like we're all working together. And so for me, that was really helpful. And also, as when I would have an agent who would come in with a buyer and had already sold homes with the builder that I worked for before and had a great experience, that was really nice too. Because they, the agent would say things like, I've had, 5 buyers that have bought homes with this builder. It's always been a great experience for them. Their warranty is great. So it's kind of like you have a little cheerleader on the side too.
Yeah, and they're setting proper expectations, like because they're experienced, because they've gone through the process with the builder before. One of the things that just came to mind that I think is important to share when you're talking about being represented or not on a builder transaction, to me, if you are, let's say you're going to court and because you were sued, are you going to show up without an attorney to represent you? No, not unless you have some kind of legal background or something, right? And that's why I feel when you're buying new construction, you need an agent on your side who's advising you how best to navigate this transaction.
Yes.
Right?
And I mean, can we say every builder and every process is perfect? It's not. And so there may be things come up where the agent who is experienced, that does know the process, is like, this isn't normal. Like, let me go handle this on my client's behalf. So I think that can be helpful
Exactly.
too. So Sarah, we talked earlier about how much our builder division has grown, especially over the last probably 7 to 10 years. And I know that there's a lot of different systems we've put in place and hires that we've made. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what our team has added in the last several years?
So obviously when you're growing a team, there's always going to be typically a new need for a new hire, right? What we did that organically led to some new hires was, for years, we didn't do a lot of MLS listings. So a lot in Houston, at least, you have to be an agent to list homes for the builder. You have to be a broker of record. And for years, we had no interest in that. We essentially didn't want to do that. We said, refer us people who need a home to sell and leave it at that.
Yep.
People kept asking, and
They
like I said
trusted us,
earlier,
right?
they trust us. You ask them what they need, and they told us they want somebody that they can trust, that can list their homes. And so we ventured into doing that. We started slowly, kind of navigated our way along with everything we do, right? And figured out what was best. We made a hire that only handles new construction listings. She's kind of our expert. She's got some backup as well from a virtual assistant that helps out as well, but she's knows how to do them. She's got a system in place, but she's her primary job, right? Then, I guess probably before that, as our home buyout program has grown in popularity over the years, our programs and guidelines, if you will, have changed. And so we've provided marketing materials. We are constantly being in front of our builders more and more because we believe that the more we're out there, we're able to answer questions, provide whatever they need, help answer questions. So, of course, we then hired a marketing rep years and years ago. This happened. It was we had a rep when I joined the team, so probably 20 years ago now. And then it's grown. So we have 2 people in the role right now, and they cover all different parts of the city. So we've got Courtney that handles our north side, and then Erica that handles our south side, essentially, and west and east as well. But they're our salespeople. They're the salespeople selling our program
out in the model homes.
Out in the model homes, if you're in Houston, you'll see the Frankies, our car that's wrapped with our Franklin team stuff. But they are essentially building the relationship with our builder partners, helping answer questions about our buyout and other programs. So those are specific hires that we've made, systems we've put in. They are involved in our other back-end systems that we've grown over the years that you've heard about on other previous podcasts. But as far as builder specific, new construction specific, those 3 hires have been a huge part of our builder division.
Yeah. I mean, I think about our new construction listings, and it was important for us to even have that second support person, because when our builders in their model homes, they're on the weekends and they take 2 days off during the week. So we now have support where if there's changes needed or a new listing that needs to go live, that can be done on the weekend as well. So I think that was huge. We added that just a couple of years ago. And back to our builder partnership managers that are out in the field, they're driving our wrapped cars. I think for us, we know we can go out and present our programs to a builder at a sales meeting, and we can get all the support and, hear all the great things, and everyone is excited about it. And then a few weeks go by, and what happens? That salesperson forgets about it, forgets about this tool that they have. And so when we're out in the model homes, it's kind of like, we don't want to be, out of sight, out of mind. And so staying in front of them, a lot of times they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I just met with somebody yesterday and your program would be perfect for them. And so I think that's why it's really important that we have people out in those model homes every day.
And they essentially are like little Popeyes that you do for clients, right?
Yes.
Like you're just popping by, saying hello, remembering that you're there,
Yeah.
and that you can help, because let's be real, the builders, salespeople, they've got a big
lot going on.
job. They're
Yes.
selling brand new homes, answering all the millions of questions, and sometimes that slips their mind.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important. Obviously, as an agent who doesn't have the capability of hiring people,
Right.
I think it's part of setting time aside, making every day back when I first started, when I was kind of doing both, like being the agent and the sales rep for my own business, I would set aside times where I knew that the builders were typically in the office.
Yeah.
And I would go out and meet with them and talk to them, take them to lunch or
Yeah.
bring them coffee. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can do that's not going to be super expensive, but you just have to time block, right?
Time block
and be
and
consistent.
And be consistent.
That's-
Those are the biggest
Yep,
things for sure.
exactly.
I mean, I remember you coming by my model home. So
Yes.
it's 100% true, everybody.
So to tie a bow on everything we talked about today, I think some of the stuff that we talked about earlier, the 5 things that we believe new construction is important, I think the best thing would be is to get out there, learn the process, see if there's builders in there that provide classes, or your local state may have some classes that they offer for CE. But get out there, start to mingle with salespeople, see how you can provide value, and then think about it. Come up with your value and start going out there and marketing it. I think it's all about consistency and your knowledge, right, Carrie?
100%.
So please feel free. We are going to be talking on our next episode. So stay tuned for our next episode. We'll be coming out about all of our programs, specifically the buyout program, but several other programs that we have that we're so excited to share with you guys. So make sure you're stay tuned to that in the next couple weeks.
Yep. So if you're an agent and you don't want to wait for our next episode and you have questions about our programs or anything about new construction, we are an open book. We want you to reach out to us. So feel free to find us on Instagram, send us a DM, and we'd love to connect with you.
If you're looking to join a team that's growth minded and looking for an opportunity, go online to our website, thefranklinteaminc.com, and check out our hiring tab. We'd love to have you join our team.